Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this session. Please note that your video is turned off and you are muted. If you have any questions during the session, please send it to Q&A Alfredo, and we will try to answer at the end of the session. Please also take note that this session will be available on our YouTube channel in a couple of days. So welcome everyone. And before we start this topic, what is a liberal arts education? We would like to know, where are you joining us from? So I'm going to share with you a little poll so you can tell us if you are in Canada, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central America, or if you are joining from other place. I'll just wait a little bit. People is still voting. Okay, it seems that we have the majority of people today from Central America and also from Mexico. So I'm going to show you the results. You can see the results now, right? So no people from Canada, the Caribbean, or other places. Thank you very much for sharing your answers with us. So maybe many of you are already familiar with Education USA, but for some of you that are new to our network, I'm going to explain very briefly who we are and what we do. We are a global network of advising centers from the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. There are 56 Education USA advising centers in North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. We offer free access to introductory information on US study. We work with students, higher education institutions, governments, and NGOs. And we offer unbiased, accurate, and comprehensive information about the full range of accredited US higher education institutions. So if you have any questions at any time, we will also invite you to contact your advising center in your country to be in communication with them so you can follow up and you can study in the United States. That's our objective, that you receive all the information, all the support to study in the United States in a university or higher education institution. So I'm going to introduce our panelists, our experts in the topic of liberal arts education. And I have the pleasure to introduce you our first panelist, Wade Germa. He's an Augustana University graduate in 2008, and he currently serves as AU's Assistant Director of International Enrollment. Wade has over 6 years of admission counseling experience, working with both domestic and international students from all over the world. Wade's guiding principles in his daily work with international students are transparency, care, and humor. He is a passionate believer in both international education and the liberal arts educational model, and the crucial roles they each play in fostering understanding and creating ethical, globally minded leaders. Outside of work, Wade is an active member of the performing arts scene in Sioux Falls, as a member of both the Good Night Theater Collective and the Midtown Coffee Radio Hour. Then we have Ana Gonzalez. Ana Gonzalez, OP, is a Dominican Sister of Peace and served as a coordinator of international admissions at Albertus Magnus College, a founded ministry of the congregation. Ana is a native of Mexico and holds a bachelor's degree from Loyola University in New Orleans and master's degree from the University of Texas at El Paso. As a coordinator of international admissions, Ana works with international students seeking a cross-cultural experience of encounter for the promotion of global awareness and peace while attaining quality education at Albertus Magnus College. And also here with us is Jacob Wooden. Jacob is Director of Undergraduate International Admission. He has worked in university admissions since 2012 and joined the University of Denver in 2018. Jacob is a passionate believer in the benefits of international education and loves to help students from around the world navigate the transition to living and learning in the United States. He is an active member of the International Association of College Admission Counselors, regularly presents at a conference on a wide range of topics, from playing sports at university to support for LGBTQ+ students in the admission process. So, thank you for being here with us today. We really appreciate your expertise. And we will invite to answer some of the questions we have about the liberal arts model. So for our first question, we would like to share with us what exactly does liberal arts mean? This is a concept that international students, when they are searching for their options in the US, will encounter very frequently. And it is a term that is many times confused, or they have questions, or they see a liberal arts degree, a liberal art college. So we will start with Wade for this question.
Great, thank you. And yeah, thanks to Elvira and the Education USA team for putting this on. As you'll quickly discover, folks that work at liberal arts institutions are very eager to talk about the liberal arts because we're a little bit biased, but we think there's a lot of benefits to that. So what does the liberal arts mean? I think as Elvira said, that is tossed around a lot, and it's kind of a tough concept to grasp sometimes. So I always like kind of focusing on where the word liberal comes from. So comes from the word liber, which means to be free. So it essentially is like a good model of how the liberal arts educational model works, or a good example of it, in terms of like having the freedom, having the flexibility to study things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily study in your specific major or in your primary area of study. So liberal arts institutions work to give students that freedom to take a class that sounds interesting to them, that maybe they've never experienced before. It means being able to challenge yourself in different areas that you never thought you would even have the opportunity to study. Because when you take classes like that, like philosophy, music, psychology, whatever it happens to be, you really discover a lot about yourself, and you discover a lot about the world around you. So essentially, to me, the liberal arts means that you are taking a wide variety of classes in addition to what your primary area of study is. And it allows you, gives you the freedom to explore, the freedom to learn things about yourself and the world around you while also, continuing to study your main primary area of study. So to me, a liberal arts education means freedom to explore.
Thank you. I like that. Anna, would you like to add something else?
Sure. I think what Wade explained was right on target. And what I would add is that a liberal arts education allows the student not to graduate just with the career. You will get that at a liberal arts university, but you're going to get something more. You're going to become a well-rounded individual that will allow you to not just know and be proficient in what you're studying, but also to be acquainted and to be knowledgeable of what else is around you. We are global citizens and we require knowledge. Liberal arts education provides a nice foundation for you to really go out into the world, be all you could be, and be a critical thinker.
Thank you, Anna. Jacob, would you like to add anything at all?
Sure. I think that both Wade and I did a good job of introducing the concept of liberal arts and what the benefits are of like looking into liberal arts as a path of study. I like to start with the liberal arts by just telling students right at its base that the term liberal arts is used to describe a lot of different things. At its core, liberal arts just means being required to take lots of classes. So taking humanities, social sciences, hard sciences, social exploration type classes. It's this focus of making sure that when you're studying, you're not just studying the one thing you came to maybe major in, you're taking a broad set of classes that encourage you to explore lots of different disciplines. And the reason why so much of the US education system is based on that is because we know it makes you a better citizen. Studying the liberal arts means you're going to become a better critical thinker. It means that you're going to become more able to analyze the ethics, to be an ethical person of things, and to draw on many different disciplines. So while there's this concept of liberal arts that kind of pervades a lot of higher education in the United States, there are then some institutions that specialize in liberal arts, and that's why we have the panel we have here today. It's schools that are specializing in all of their degrees or most of their degrees, in the case of the University of Denver, really requiring you to study a little bit about a lot of different things and trying to make sure that you get that kind of broad exploration of thinking when you're studying here.
Thank you. That was great to start with this topic. So my next question is, what kind of majors will fall under a liberal arts degree? And we'll start with Anna.
Thank you so much. So I want to point out that a liberal arts degree provides, it's not just a major, it is also a foundation, a strong foundation. So for instance, here at Albertus Magnus College, we have the Masters of Art Therapy. And this definitely is one of our programs that not only is very much grounded in the liberal arts, heavy art, visual art component, but as well, there is the sociology component, the psychology component. So when you attend a liberal arts education, the liberal arts degree will provide you a career that will make you functionable in whatever you decide to work with. But most importantly, it prepares you for the job of the future. I'll throw an example. When I went to college several years ago, I studied public relations and I was taught how to send a fax. Who sends faxes nowadays, right? Another phenomenon that I was not taught was social media. That came up 5 years, 10 years after I graduated from school. Today, people are getting master's degrees in social media. So a liberal arts foundation allows individuals to be equipped to grab the new jobs of the future by the horns and be proficient in them. So what major falls under a liberal arts degree? I would say all of them. The foundation is imperative. The liberal arts foundation will allow the student to be successful, not only with the professions that they are attaining because of the holistic, strong, global, critical thinking ability, but most importantly, it will prepare the individual for whatever unknown, exciting jobs of the future come around.
Thank you. Jacob, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, Anna said like what I was going to say is my first answer. So at DU, at the University of Denver, I would say that all of our majors are liberal arts degrees, because it's about the way that we're structuring the program more than it is a specific major. I think there's a myth that people think when they hear liberal arts that liberal arts means not practical, that liberal arts means like philosophy or abstract mathematics or abstract geography, and that they can't be a practical degree if you get a liberal arts degree. These are all majors that people may think of when they hear liberal arts. They think of the biology, the geography, the chemistry, philosophy. I know is one that people think of a lot as liberal arts. But really, any degrees can be part of a liberal arts tradition. So I mean, my classic example of that is when I talk to students who are interested in coming to study business even here at the University of Denver, which is a really popular major for us. Even if you study business here, we have a common curriculum that all students have to go through that requires you to take a distribution of classes across the sciences, the humanities, the cultural exploration classes that you're going to take to make sure that even if you're majoring in business, you want to be an accountant, that you've had an opportunity to sit in a small lecture with a professor, not a small lecture, a small discussion group with a professor to read through texts and talk about how this impacts the world. It's really more of a way of structuring the educational experience than it is a specific major.
Great, thank you. Wade, anything you would like to additional information to provide to this?
Yeah,
topic?
that's just to piggyback a little bit. I think, yeah, on what both Anna and Jacob said is yeah, that you know, that foundation of courses all across the board. So even if you're a philosophy major, you know, taking classes in biology and chemistry and astronomy, whatever it happens to be, because we want students to be really well-rounded. So it's that foundation that unites all people at liberal arts schools, you know, regardless of what their major is. And one of my favorite aspects of Augustana, where I work, in all liberal arts schools is the fact that you know, students, regardless of their major, are united in that. And, you know, we have students, you know, like if you go to a biology class, it's not only going to be biology or chemistry or nursing majors, it's going to be folks all across campus that are all coming together and coming at, you know, discussing an issue, discussing, you know, an issue that we see in today's society, and coming at it from different perspectives to come up with solutions. And that's, I think, you know, something that's a really powerful part of a liberal arts degree. But yeah, I would agree with everything. Even engineering physics is a liberal arts degree, you know, at liberal arts schools. So it's really exciting when you get students, you know, that come in with one idea and take one class out, you know, in a different area that they're required to take. Yes, it is a requirement. But, you know, it's like growing up, your family is like, you'll thank me when you're older. And you're like, yeah, what do you know? You know, and then we actually, that's kind of like the liberal arts is like, why am I taking this class? And you're like, oh my goodness, I've never thought about this before. I've never asked these questions before. And that's kind of, yeah, a liberal arts degree in a nutshell. And I would agree, they're all liberal arts majors.
Thank you. So Jacob, what are the benefits? And I think you've been talking a little bit about this, but what can you add or what can you say about the benefits of a liberal arts education?
Right. I appreciate actually how emphatic Anna was when she started talking about the benefits of a liberal arts education. So I'm excited for her to give more information on her take on that, because I think a lot of the same things. The benefits of a liberal arts education are one, that you get to see how what you are studying fits into other things too. So what I mean by that, my undergrad degree is actually in music. So I was a performing arts undergraduate student, but I got to take, as part of my liberal arts education, foreign language classes. I got to take exploration of poetry classes. I got to take classes about religion, politics, and public policy. They're not related on the surface to music, but all of them go into exploring like why I do certain things in music, why certain musical concepts are common, why they impact people. And it's actually been really, really helpful for me as I then went on to get a master's degree in public affairs, so not music at all. But I drew on all of this information that I got in my undergraduate outside of my major. I now work in international education doing things like this, and I draw on stuff that I learned in my liberal arts undergraduate education all the time. The little bits you pick up about how the world is structured. Why is the world structured this way? Are things that are explored in all sorts of different philosophical, sociological perspectives inside a liberal arts education. So I just think that kind of well-roundedness prepares you to be flexible. And I think that's what I like the most about it.
Thank you. Great. Wade, can you add something else to the benefits of a liberal arts education?
Yeah, how much time do we have? I think
take the time you need.
I think, in addition to what everybody's already shared, yeah, I mean, this is, something that we can obviously talk about for a while because we wholeheartedly believe it. And I think that's something that is really, and I would imagine the others will share this, is like what makes me really excited to come to work every day is that like we actually believe in this, and we believe that liberal arts graduates are going on and transforming their communities around the world, and that's really exciting to be a part of. One, in addition to what Jacob has already said, another benefit that that I see is in, I'm going to kind of start very broadly with communication. Just like basic communication skills, which I think is something that we oftentimes downplay or forget as being critical. But I believe, the other panelists shared already, it's that, that adaptability, that, communication skills, the critical thinking skills, all of those things that a lot of people talk about, but we don't really know like what that looks like in actuality. And I believe, one of the, we'll kind of discuss what it actually looks like in the workforce here coming up. But I'll kind of focus my my response on this, because I'm sure Anna has other things to share as well, is about communication, both oral and written communication. Regardless of your career, regardless, or the many careers that you will have, I've the average university graduate in the United States has, I believe it's like 13 or 14 careers in their lifetime. So students tend to bounce around, and that's because we have a lot of interest, and that's because our passions change and our interests change, and we go through phases in life of where we discover more and we learn more, and then we run with that for a little bit. And that's the true essence of being a lifelong learner. That's very exciting. Just the excitement of being able to pursue so many different areas of knowledge. But also every single job you will ever have, every single career requires oftentimes a resume, a cover letter, and an interview. So from a very basic perspective of being able to perform really well in those, being able to write really well and draw from all of those experiences that Jacob just shared across all of those different courses, and all of those different experiences, studying abroad, whatever it happens to be. You can study abroad while studying abroad. Yes, it's possible. So being able to draw on all of those to be a really compelling storyteller. You know, all interviews is just storytelling and being able to express why you have what it takes to be successful in that job or in that career. So I think, you know, something for me, you know, like I was never involved in the performing arts until I took a theater class in college, and now I'm officially a professional actor here in my community because they pay me, but but I wouldn't say I'm a professional actor. But anyway, and that's something that has fulfilled me, like helped me obviously in my career and being able to successfully land interviews and perform well in interviews, but also just has really, you know, fed my soul, you know, outside of work and in developing who I am as a person. And that's something that the liberal arts does a phenomenal job of kind of, you know, just you naturally discover more about yourself, what you know, what you're passionate about, and then you never know where that can lead you. So those, you know, those are some practical benefits, but also some kind of lesser known intangible benefits of the liberal arts is learning more about yourself and learning more about the world around you. And I think we can all agree that those are good things. And I think Jake, sorry, one more quick comment. Jacob also mentioned how, you know, things are connected. And I think that's, you know, I wholeheartely believe that is true, that, you know, and I think the past year in the, you know, the pandemic has taught us that everything is connected, that things that are happening in one part of the world impact others in different countries, and economists impact education and vice versa. And like everything is connected, and it's really important for us to have a little bit of, you know, like a wide variety of knowledge about a lot of different things, because we all are connected, whether we want to be or not, or don't want to be, but we are. And I think it's exciting to be able to learn about all of those different things.
Thank you, Wade. Anna, please go ahead.
I really feel that Jacob and Wade did a wonderful job explaining the benefits of the liberal arts education. And I think anything else that I would add is this. It's not enough to go to a university and get education and a career and get a job. It's not enough. Wade just told us the value of being a global citizen and how interconnected we all are. Our world, this wild and crazy 21st century that we live in, requires every single one of us, especially the future, the students who are viewing this, to be prepared for the uncertain. And liberal arts education does that. I mean, we all have emphasized critical thinking. That's what liberal arts education does. We have emphasized flexibility. Liberal arts education does that. At the end of the day, an individual with a liberal arts education is not just an engineer. It's not just a vice president. It's not just a worker. This is a resource, an individual who has knowledge of music, religion, the world around us. We are so interconnected that it is imperative that we as professionals, that you as students planning your future with a college education, are equipped to be connected through your knowledge. And that's the biggest benefit, in my opinion, of a liberal arts education.
Thank you. So I will go to the next topic. What does a liberal arts education differ from a non-liberal arts education in terms of curriculum and learning methods? And we'll start with Wade.
Great. So yeah, I know we have mentioned kind of that foundation of the liberal arts. You know, that core curriculum at liberal arts schools that all students, regardless of what you is your primary major or majors, will take. So that is a hallmark of a liberal arts institution, and it looks very different from you know, from a non-liberal arts school and what you would take. So for example, if you know, studied business at Augustana, obviously you would have a you know, a set series of required courses for your major that you're required to take, because of course, in addition to creating really well-rounded thinkers in other areas, in other disciplines, obviously, we want you to know some things about business, so you can be successful in that career as well and continue to advance. So you will take a set series of courses, but then it might not be as many courses as you would take at a non-liberal arts school. It might be, you know, where that would be maybe more focused in one area and fewer core courses, where ours will be much more, you know, in addition to a wide variety in a large amount of courses in that specific major, also that really wide foundation of liberal arts courses outside of your major. So, you know, it looks different. I always use kind of like a you know, chart. That's why I'm always going like this. A chart where like your major 1 will be, you know, about like this, you know, major 2 about like this, your minor will be like this, and then obviously, you know, your liberal arts will be like this. So it's like you're having all of those. It's not at the detriment, or it's not at the, you know, it's not to take away from your primary major or major. It's to add to that. It's to make you a better business person, a better lawyer, a better future doctor, a better engineer, whatever it happens to be. So where, as opposed to, you know, at a non-liberal arts school, your major would be much more focused. Maybe you would have, you know, really advanced courses in one area and less courses outside of your major. So from a structural, you know, perspective, it just looks very different, you know, from a curriculum perspective. And also the learning method, you know, very like discussion based, because we're all different and we all have different perspectives. We've all had different life experiences. And so liberal arts education from a learning method perspective is very discussion based, because when you're discussing issues with people from all around the world who, you know, have different experiences than you see things from a different perspective that you never have before. So very discussion based, small classes, all of that good stuff, as opposed to, hey, I'm a professor and I have a PhD. They have those too, of course, but sit there and listen. It's very much, you know, you're an active participant in your education, and that makes it really exciting, as opposed to, okay, sit in this lecture hall. If I show up, nobody really knows. If I don't show up, nobody really knows. And, you know, that's, you know, a hallmark of a liberal arts education, being an active participant.
Thank you, Wade. Anna?
Wade just explained the curriculum beautifully. I would say that also many liberal arts institutions have smaller classroom sizes, and that's a huge benefit. A student in a liberal arts institution is not a number, and I could definitely speak to that at Albertus, where the maximum amount of students in a classroom are 15. So students really get an opportunity to not only have a rich curriculum that allows them cross-discipline exposure, but also that individual opportunity. And I'm thinking of a student who came in 5 years ago, he came in under the health management program. He was a not health management, I'm sorry, sports management, basketball player. And ideally he wanted to run or work for a professional basketball team. In the process, he decided to take a business class because this was a fun elective he wanted to take. And in the business class, there was a project to design something, design a product and market it. He went ahead and designed a shoe with his basketball experience, and the project was very successful at Albertus. Next thing you know it, his teacher encouraged him to compete internationally with his shoe product. He won at a competition in Hungary. This young man is just completing his master's degree in business and has his own shoe line. So that's a little bit of what a liberal arts education curriculum can do. Who would have thought that because there was this curriculum, this young man would have an MBA and a shoe line by the time he graduated?
Thank you, Anna. That was a great story to share with us. Jacob?
Yeah, Wade really did a great job, I think, of talking about what the liberal arts curriculum looks like. And so what I always would point out to students is that to some degree, there's a liberal arts concept that is valid at most universities in the United States, not all and not all majors, where you really want to look at how the liberal arts is different than if you totally didn't use liberal arts at all. You could compare US universities to European universities, because in Europe, like for the most part, if you go major in business at a European school, you're going to go study straight. You may take a math and econ class as they relate to business, but it's going to be a business classes all the way through. Versus in the United States, because our universities have developed from the liberal arts perspective, most universities have some degree of requirements outside your major. And then when you look at the true liberal arts universities, liberal arts colleges, they're making sure that that concept is through all of the classes, all of the concepts of what you're continuing to study. So I think that what you'll see really is a lot of stuff that was already played out here. Like liberal arts, you're going required, encouraged to make these connections between classes. You're going to be looking at usually smaller class sizes at the universities that emphasize the liberal arts, and really focusing on how you're developing that good thinking and critical reasoning throughout the classes you're taking under the liberal arts model, as opposed to maybe another model, the more contemporary European model, where you're really focused more on like the subject at hand and not given nearly the same degree of exploration that you can in a liberal arts degree.
Thank you, Jacob. And you mentioned the European model, but I think it's the same in Latin America, in Central America, in Mexico, that you go to university, you have to choose a path that you are going to follow, and you don't have that flexibility, or you don't have that foundation. So yes, I think it's true also for people that are here from countries in Central America and Mexico. Thank you for pointing that out. And now I think we're going to start with Anna. How a liberal arts degree may be applied in real life or the job market. And I think you also point out some of the things here, but if you would like to add this specifically in your experience.
So we've talked about the value of a liberal arts education and how it is so important today in a world where we're so connected, where it is so important to have knowledge, not just of your profession, but of the world around you, the cultures around you, the religions and trains of thoughts, and also the opportunity to be flexible, to try new approaches to doing things. Also, the opportunity to tackle the job of the future. And I keep thinking of AI that didn't exist 7 years ago, and app development. So many jobs that are going to be available will be available. And I think liberal arts students will have that cutting edge in the job market. I'm also thinking of a biology student who studied biology, and currently is working with an environmentally conservative firm here in New Haven, Connecticut. But what led her to that employment, and not only to keep her biology background, but also she took a sociology class that created awareness of the environmental changes, and she wanted to do something about that. And today she's able to apply her knowledge of biology, what she gained in that sociology class because of the liberal arts curriculum, and she is making a positive difference in our community. So liberal arts degrees are applied, and they're necessary and they're important. And I mean, I'm encouraging all of you to consider a career in a liberal arts institution. It makes a difference.
Thank you, Anna. Jacob?
What I like to remind students is that if you're majoring in, if you're going to university that has a liberal arts focus, or if you're even choosing some of the majors that we said may be traditional liberal arts degrees, universities have, in the United States at least, have these career counseling and career centers that help figure out how you're going to take what you're learning at the university and apply it into the real world. So I remind my students that even students who come to the University of Denver and they're majoring in philosophy, they're still going into our career center. They're still being encouraged to go look at how they're going to get an internship during their undergrad that will apply to getting a job. We're going to go in and get their resume looked at. They may go through mock interviews and be able to apply for things. Like, there's all sorts of support for taking the things you are learning and then turning that into a job. You don't just have to be majoring in a job focused major, which I think so many students get caught up in that. They want their major to match the job they're going to do. So if they think, if I'm an accounting major, then I'm going to be an accountant, and that makes sense. But you have to remember that so many people major in things that don't match the exact job, because you don't major in things like international admissions counseling. That's not an undergraduate major. You study all sorts of other stuff and then apply that skills to a different job afterwards. So when you're looking at the liberal arts and considering studying at a university that's focusing on this, you're going to still have all this support for getting into the job market afterwards. I also point out to students that one of the biggest things that a liberal arts degree is going to help you with is you're going to be a good writer, because you have done plenty of writing. You're going to be a good critical thinker. And those are the kinds of things that set you apart in the 21st century job market. When you're going to look at this stuff, because it's not just, do you know the stuff today? It's, have you learned things about the world enough that you can solve the problems for tomorrow? And that's really where the liberal arts degree comes into play.
Thank you, Jacob. Wade?
I always like using, I have two examples. The Steve Jobs example of him taking, of course he dropped out of college, but I can't remember why. I think he went on to start a successful business. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. It was a calligraphy class that he took, where he discovered that design and like the artistic element of of computer science and coding and all of that. It doesn't have to be one or the other. In fact, it has to be both and, to marry those things together to create a beautiful, beautiful product. And now every single person in the world, basically, except for me, I'm a Pixel user, has an iPhone, and or an Apple product of some sort. So it's it's not just one area. It's not only coding. It's not only one area. It is that with other things, marrying them together. And my other example is my own personal example. I did, as Jacob mentioned, I don't know how you knew this, Jacob, I did not study international admission counseling at undergrad. It's weird. I don't know how you knew that. So I studied business. I knew, there's a lot of lot of careers in business, and a lot of in business in every single career, you know, in terms of managing budgets, working with people, etc. So I studied that at the undergraduate level. I took a few religion courses just because I was interested to talk about world religion and how people believe what they believe and how, you know, that differs and the similarities, all of that. I had reached the number, you know, the required number of religion courses that I was required to take, but I needed one more class my senior year. My spring semester of senior year. So I took a Hinduism and Buddhism class. I didn't need it, but it sounded interesting. And that single course went on to change the course of my life, because after that, I started volunteering here in Sioux Falls at the Refugee Resettlement Agency. We have people from all over the world who have been resettled here in Sioux Falls. And I started volunteering, and then I ended up working there. I was hired, and I worked as a refugee caseworker for almost 6 years before I started working in international education at Augustana. The largest group that we served here in Sioux Falls was Bhutanese refugees who were living in Nepal. Almost all of them, or a strong percentage of them, were Hindu. And because of this random class that I took senior year that I did not need to graduate, it just sounded interesting, that class allowed me to understand cultural practices that I never would have understood, have learned about or understood or even thought about before taking that class. And that directly impacted my ability to do my job every single day. I was able to, in my job, I was an employment specialist. So I helped individuals with refugee status look for jobs here in Sioux Falls. And I was able to communicate cultural practices to American Midwestern supervisors and bosses of why certain cultural practices were happening, why people requested vacation on a certain day they had, why when somebody's family member passed away, they did this particular ceremony. I was able to eloquently articulate those cultural differences and why it's important to respect them. And I think that allowed me to be a really successful caseworker, and it allowed me to build trust with employers, and it also allowed me to build trust with the families that I was serving. So that's you know, a little liberal arts story for you that impacted my everyday life, and still now in my work, you know, working with folks from all over the world, you know, that continues to stay true each and every day. So if you are, you know, if you find yourself interested in coming to the United States, as everybody has said, please, please, please add some liberal arts schools to your list, because those graduates are doing phenomenal things and changing their communities.
Wow, that was great. Thank you, Wei. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Jacob. I think we have an understanding of what liberal arts is. And hopefully we have some students here that will be interested in looking and researching more about this. And I love that you say that it's not taking away from your major, but it's adding to your personality. Is not just knowledge, it's skills, is how you see the world and critical thinking. And this is so great. So if you have any questions, please send them to Q&A Alfredo. You can send him a message in the chat. And we will do just a short introductions of the institutions that are represented here before going to the question and answer session if we have any questions. So we'll start with Augustana. Wade, go ahead.
Perfect. Well, this is this is our outdoor classroom. It was just built a couple years ago. We anticipated the timing there and discovered that there would maybe be a benefit for having some outdoor learning space. But anyway, so this is a photo of our beautiful campus. We have a nice open green there in the middle. And as I said, this is our new outdoor classroom here that was paid for and started by the Sustainability Club. So 100% of admitted international students at Augustana are awarded a partial scholarship. So we have generous scholarships to both domestic and international students. We have a free application, and we're also part of the Common App. Thing that we are very proud of is our 98% job placement rate for recent grads. That also includes a 98% of recent graduates had a hands-on learning experience during their 4 years of undergrad. So undergraduate research, internship, employment, whatever it happens to be. So we really focus on, as do liberal arts schools in general, focus on the that hands-on component in addition to what's happening in the classroom. So we're very proud of those statistics, and we're located in a place that I'm sure none of you have ever thought of in your entire life, and that's okay. But after you learn about Sioux Falls, people are always shocked. For 4 years in a row, smartasset.com, I almost said it, smartasset.com ranked us the #1 city for young professionals 4 years in a row. So we have consistently have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. We have huge industries in IT, finance, healthcare, engineering, and a lot of CPT and OPT internship, research, and job opportunities for students. So, which again plays into that 98% job placement rate. And I don't know if I mentioned, we are a liberal arts school as well. So you'll get that, all of the things we've been talking about for the last 53 minutes, you'll get some of those benefits as well.
Great, thank you. Then we have Albertus Magnus College.
Thank you so much. Albertus Magnus College is a small private Catholic university in New Haven, Connecticut. We are down the street from the reason why we got started, Yale University, and 2 hours away from New York and 3 hours away from Boston. Albertus provides a wonderful liberal arts education, allowing our students to access over 50 majors. And before any student graduates, they will participate in an internship or hands-on experience. Our students are granted scholarships, very generous scholarships as well. And we have wonderful programs, great education, and I would love the opportunity to chat with y'all.
Thank you. Jacob?
Yeah, so again, I'm Jacob Wood, and I'm here from the University of Denver. And the University of Denver is a little bit different than the other two institutions that were introduced today, because while we were started as a traditional liberal arts undergraduate college, we've grown a fair amount since then, as the city of Denver has also grown around us. So the University of Denver is about 6,000 undergraduate students and 6,000 graduate students. And we're in a city of about 3 million people. So it makes us the 17th largest city in the United States. And we're right south of the downtown. We have a lot of different things for you to choose from. But what I really think is interesting about sitting at the University of Denver is that we blend this access to a research institution with a very more traditional liberal arts undergraduate degree. So everything that we talked about how your major is going to be allow you to mix and match things, how there's going to be plenty of emphasis on you studying many different disciplines to be a good critical thinker, the small class sizes that are taught by professors, really focusing on discussion and critical reasoning is very true about the University of Denver. We're just a little bit bigger at about 6,000 total undergraduate students. We have a really large rate of students participating in study abroad. So we're consistently ranked in the top 10 of institutions that send students abroad, and that does include international students. So when Wade made that comment earlier, you can study abroad while studying abroad. I talk to students about that all the time here at the University of Denver, that if you're joining us from Central America and you want to do a study abroad in Singapore, it's very possible. And it's also very possible because we have a special fund that pays for you to study abroad and makes it the same cost as if you were studying right at the University of Denver. It pays for a flight to and from, it pays for a visa. If that's needed, it just makes it very easy for you to do that. So lots of students choose DU partially for that. Some students choose us because we are in the state of Colorado with 300 days of sunshine every year. So even when there is snow on the ground, it is still sunny and wonderful. Which makes it a very nice place to live, particularly if any of you are afraid of the snow. We do have a lot of snow sometimes, but it's beautiful while it happens. It's not 3 months of gray, which is true in some parts of the US, like where I'm from. So it was nice when I moved to Colorado, it's much brighter. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Jacob. And we'll invite Alfredo to share. We have some questions from our audience.
Thank you very much, Elvira. Yes, we have some questions. I will read them out. The first one, if a student wants to follow a liberal arts education, what kind of preparation or formation should be followed during high school?
Anyone would like to take that one?
That's a great question. And I'll just the first thing that comes to mind is just start reading as much as you can. Read novels, it doesn't have to be anything academic. There's, as we all mentioned, there's a large focus on reading and writing. So start, read magazines, read novels, read, articles online. Read, because when you're reading, that means you're thinking, and you're thinking about things that maybe you haven't thought about, which then inevitably lead to more questions. So so that's the first thing that comes to mind is just start reading.
Thank you, Wade. Alfredo, we have another one.
Yes. Does having a liberal arts formation limits your options if you want to continue with a master's or a doctorate degree?
Yeah, that's a great question. That I see a surprising amount of people asking that, assuming that, but no, it really doesn't. You can get an undergrad degree in a liberal arts curriculum and go on to a master's degree that's highly specialized. You could go on to different master's programs. Like there's still plenty of pathways open to you for getting into master's or graduate programs. And in fact, in some like PhD programs, like the liberal arts curriculum prepares you more for the PhD program than something that was not liberal arts based.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, I have one last question. Do you have to go to a liberal arts institution to study a liberal arts degree?
So it depends what, look, in all honesty, the Liberal Arts Foundation at a liberal arts institution is very enriching and very rich. What is defined as a liberal arts degree? A lot of people associate philosophy, English, fine arts as liberal arts, but that's not necessarily a liberal arts degree. I think when we talk about liberal arts, we're talking about that foundation that allows the student to have critical thinking skills. So I would perhaps encourage to consider pursuing a degree that, regardless if it's a liberal arts education or a non-liberal arts education, when you go to college, be intentional about allowing yourself to take cross-discipline options where you learn of other fields, where you become aware of music and auditory and visual arts, where you learn about philosophy and religion, sociology. where it's not just getting a degree to get a job. The more you know, the better equipped you will be. A liberal arts institution makes that part of the curriculum. I hope that helped answer that question.
I like what you said, Anna. What I would tell students is that of my brief history reminder or lesson, in the United States, liberal arts, this idea of studying lots of different things to make you a good, well-rounded thinker, is how most of our universities were founded. So most of our universities and colleges started off teaching only liberal arts. And then as time went on, some institutions developed more professional focused programs. They may have changed their liberal arts full degree into a common curriculum that you have to take for a year or 2 years in some cases. And so that's what I meant earlier when I was saying that in the US, there's kind of this amount of liberal arts that kind of emphasizes or pervades most schools, but not all. And so I think what you get from some schools that are putting liberal arts first and calling themselves liberal arts colleges and emphasizing what they provide in liberal arts, you may find you get more of an opportunity to benefit from the liberal arts education that we're talking about. But even at some schools that aren't necessarily liberal arts colleges, you might still get some of this liberal arts concepts. I think what you start looking at with students is, I would encourage any of you who are looking at this to kind of decide what is important to you and how much you want to embrace this liberal arts tradition. If you know that you love everything that we're saying, and this sounds just like you, then these liberal arts colleges or universities that specialize in liberal arts are probably the right fit for you to continue to explore many things. If you know that this sounds awful and you would rather only study your major, you don't believe what we're saying, which is okay, then maybe you'll find a college that has some degree of liberal arts, but not as much as some of the liberal arts colleges in the US and liberal arts universities are focused on. Controversial point, but that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much again. If there is any other questions that didn't were answered today, please contact your advising center if you need help researching your options and finding your best fit. Please contact your advising center. I'm going to, before we say goodbye, I'm going to share with you the next events that we are going to have this month. Next Wednesday, we'll have a session on online education. And then on July 21st, we'll have a session in cultural diversity. And for those students that are already accepted in a university, or if you want to know how it looks like to be accepted in a university and how to, the things you need to know before arriving in the US, we'll have a session on July 28th. And all these events are here in bit.ly/EDUSAJULE July 2021, and you will be able to register. Of course, you follow us in social media. You can also contact your local advising center that is also here. You can go to our webpage, educationusa.state.gov, and you will be able to find your Education USA Center and find other local events that are available to you. Thank you again, Wade, Anna, Jacob. I think we did have fun today and we learned a lot, and we are very thankful in the name of the Education USA Network. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. Thank you very much, and goodbye to everyone. Have a nice day.